going to open this hour with our friend Scott in Indianapolis, Indiana. Scott, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you. My wife and I have a not necessarily disagreement, but just trying to get guidance on how much for a new car is appropriate to spend.
Okay, talk us through this. What's your financial situation?
Well, we're debt-free, and we'd be paying with cash. And we generally drive cars into the ground. So I've had mine for 12 years and bought it 2 years. It was 2 years old when I bought it, and looking at stepping up a bit. But a lot's changed in the world in 12 years since we've bought a car. And so just trying to get a handle on how much to spend.
What are you looking at?
Well, I'd like to get an Alfa Romeo.
Whoa. Hey now.
Which, it's a pretty car. Now, I currently drive a 5 Series BMW.
Okay.
But I got the tax appraisal, and it's worth like $4,000 now. And it's like, well, maybe I need a new car because I've had this one for 12 years.
How much is the Alfa Romeo you're looking at?
It'd be about 90.
Oh, okay.
All right, and you've got the cash to pay for it.
Yes.
Where are you guys at in the baby steps? Have you been following that plan? You said you're debt-free. Do you have a paid-for house?
Yes. So I first heard Dave in 1998.
Wow.
And I've been following the plan since then. So we have a net worth of about $3.5 million. And,
well, that changes the equation, my friend.
Yeah.
Way to go.
And what's your income currently?
Probably about $500,000 a year.
$500,000 a year?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so your wife is saying $90,000 because you've lived like no one else. I mean, you're it's unbelievable.
So what's the disagreement here, Scott?
She just doesn't like the price tag, or what?
She's saying it's too much?
Well, yeah. I mean, our first house was only like a 200, and and we've been looking at cars, and a lot of the cars don't cost what they cost 12 years ago. And
right.
Granted, this is a really nice car, but
she is emotionally grappling with the fact that a car could cost $90,000 and you want it.
Well, yeah, I think that's it. Right?
What's the number that she's okay with? If 90 is a bit much in her eyes, what's a number she goes, I'm fine with this number?
Well, yeah, I'm trying, in case she hears this later, I don't want to hear it from her, but, I spent 30 on the last car, and so she's like, well, why not spend 35? But that doesn't go as far as it used to.
No.
And it's a percentage of our net worth. We're worth like 10x what we were when we bought that car.
Yeah,
right?
on the Ramsey side, you guys are in amazing shape, and there's no problem with getting this $90,000 car. But this is not really a financial question. This is more of a relational question. How do I get my wife on the same page so that I can get the car?
Yeah, I'm not even necessarily trying to, it's just, how we didn't grow up with this kind of money, right? So, on one hand, the intellectual side of it's pretty straightforward, because I can do ratios and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
you've listened to Dave for a long time. George, you can refresh him. Let's just play out the percentages.
Yeah, you've got multi-million-dollar net worth, and you're saying, hey, can I spend a tiny, tiny fraction of that on a car that we're paying cash for and is well under half of our income? In that scenario, it's hard to look at the math and go, wow, this is an outrageous expense. But I get that your wife, she remembers the old days, and she's going, man, that's way too much to be spending on a car. But you guys have worked, you've sacrificed, you've lived like no one else, and now is the part where you get to live like no one else.
How old are you, Scott?
About 50. Just turned 50. It's hard to say out loud.
I know. I could tell you were like, about 50. That's like when we're all. It's all when we're 9. We're like, I'm 9.5. Thank you very much.
Just rounding.
Yeah.
Rounding numbers.
You know what? If you said your wife's fine and it's not a getting her on board issue, it's just you wanted to double check your percentages. Well, you got your answer. I'd buy the car.
All right. Well,
what does she get out of the deal?
Well, I'm trying to get her a nicer car. I'd like to get her a Land Rover or something, but hers is not as many miles on it as mine. She drives the kids around, so I don't mind what I drive, but I figure if we're going to get something new, we should get something good.
Well, let her dream a little bit. You guys have done so well. Does she like buying stuff, or is she still very diligent and frugal and says, that's a waste?
Yeah, I mean, really the only thing we splurge on is trips. So we like to get the kids out and travel, but we just don't spend a lot.
Well, take her on a nice trip.
Yeah. I mean, have you driven this Alfa Romeo? Have you taken it out for a spin?
Well, I will. I haven't yet. I'm very weary of car fever, so
well,
I'm inoculated against car fever.
I get it, and I think you've been very disciplined. I'm actually going to recommend that. Why don't you go out and drive a $60,000 car? I understand the $90,000 Alfa Romeo and the percentages, and you're there, but just try several things. But you don't have anything to be afraid of. Making the kind of money you're making and you're debt free, and the percentages here say it's good. But go drive the thing. They'll let you do it. You got the cash. You can show them. It's right there in the bank. Drive a few other amazing things. Get it out of your system a little bit, and then decide what you want to do. But you've done the right things, and now at almost 50, or you are 50. I can't remember what he said. You've earned it, and you two got to be on the same page, though. You know what I mean?
Like, no, agreed. Yeah.
And that's the key. I think as long as you do that, that's fantastic.
Yeah, great question, Scott. Fantastic job. You guys have put yourself in a fantastic
I was hoping he had a story
position
for us, George.
Well, he'll come back. He'll call us back.
Those cars, by the way, there's a reason they cost what they cost.
What is that?
High performance.
Is that it? Yeah. I always thought it was great branding and marketing.
No. For Father's Day about 5 years ago, Stacy and the kids surprised me, and I got to do 7 laps on a road course in a Lamborghini.
We're talking a racetrack here.
Oh, yeah, real racetrack. Lamborghini Diablo, okay? There's a difference. I was terrified, and the instructor's in the car with me, so he's like, look.
Is it one of those fake steering wheels?
He's like, this is going to feel like you're going to flip the car, but it will not flip. You got to trust me. I'm like, I don't trust you, man. I mean, the speed and the power in these cars.
How fast did you take it?
Honestly, George, I was so focused on the road, I never looked.
You never looked down.
Listen,
was
it's
it
so
150?
exhilarating and terrifying at the same time.
Was it 150?
Oh, yeah. On the
200?
straightaways, I got it up to 200.
Very impressive. Well, you guys like your cars. I'll give you that. But do it with cash, people. Do it the right way. Do not go into debt, and do it like Scott did. Completely debt-free.
Way to go, Scott.
With a multi-million-dollar net worth. Half America's going, yawn, Scott, buy the car. Do it, man. This is The Ramsey Show.